So as you probably already know, GPT-5 launched last week, and I really don't like jumping on the bandwagon and making videos when new stuff comes out. I rather give stuff a solid try before I make content on it so that you guys have a more level-headed opinion on the new models that come out. So it's been a week. I've been playing around with it for my side projects and also on a project at work that's like 500,000 lines of code. And overall, if you don't want to watch this whole video, the main takeaway from GPT-5 is it's pretty good. It's able to one prompt many features. It's able to one prompt some bug fixes on both projects. The one thing I'll say is that it's kind of slow. I have often kicked off a prompt, and in that same time that GPT-5 takes to finish reasoning and implementing those changes, I think I could have run like 2 or 3 prompts in Claude Code with Opus. Now, in terms of the quality of the output, I still think it's pretty good. Like, I could see myself just coding with this primarily at some point if they could speed it up. I mean, you still have to go through the code or review and fix some things that it messes up on. But overall, when you give it very specific tasks, it's going to do pretty well. And that's one thing I think you have to remember is that when you're coding with a certain model, you're going to get something called model bias, where you get really good at prompting that particular model. And then when you try to switch to a different model, you're not going to get as good results because I think it takes time to understand how that model needs to be interacted with, right? You need to learn how to prompt. You need to learn how to give good context. But what we're going to do in this video is I'm going to try to add a new feature to this agentic jumpstart course that I'm working on. By the way, I am working on an agentic coding course. It's not going to be cheap. I think it's going to be like $200 maybe, but I do think it's a fair price for people using like Claude Code Max. And it's just going to help teach you how to use Cursor more efficiently, how to use Claude Code more efficiently to agentically code a full stack application. So I'm going to walk you through the tooling, and then we're actually going to build out a full stack application together and try to make it as feature rich as I possibly can. I will say this course is still a work in progress. I have a bunch of stuff planned out to talk about Cursor, Claude Code, and then we're going to build out a full stack application. And if I have time, I'll build out a CLI tool as well. If you go to the site, you may actually just see like a newsletter sign up because I don't know if I'm ready for people to buy this yet. But just keep that in mind, agenticjumpstart.com. I'll put it in the description below. And speaking of which, the feature I want to add on is I want to add a feature flag inside an environment variable, which if it's on, all this page shows is a simple landing page with an input box and a button so that you can subscribe to a newsletter so that I can notify you in the future when I'm ready for this course to be purchased. So that's what we're going to do in this video. We're going to compare GPT-5 against Claude Opus and see how well both of them can do with implementing the feature that I'm asking. All right, so let's start by writing the prompt. I'm going to say, I need a feature flag that a developer can set for enabling a early access mode. This mode should always redirect the user to the landing page. The landing page should only show an input and a button so they can subscribe to a newsletter. Use the existing newsletter component I have to handle the subscriptions. Make the landing page simple and clean. Use the existing theme and styles to design the landing page. So I'm going to try to kick this off without giving it any context. Usually when I'm coding, I would like to actually drag in the landing page files or drag in some other things so it can guide it as to where to put the environment variable, like what config file, what landing page file. But I'm just going to see how well it can reason about my existing code base just to add this really basic feature. So I guess I can just copy and paste this in, and I'll probably just say implement the attached requirements. I am also going to kick off a stopwatch. For some reason, Cursor doesn't like showing you how long stuff took. And I think it's kind of important. If you want to gauge these models, some models take quite a long time to reason about your code base and implement these features. Others seem to move a lot faster. So we're going to go ahead and just let this cook. And then I'm going to stop the stopwatch when it's done. And we can kind of compare not only the speed, but also the accuracy of GPT-5 against Claude Opus in just a bit. All right, so we're 2 minutes in right now. It's still actually trying to think, but it is slowly changing some files. So 2 minutes in, we've added an environment variable, and we've added a public environment variable called Vite Early Access Mode. I think it will be interesting to see what it does with this backend environment variable. So it's like it's creating two different environment variables right now. And maybe it'll end up needing that for redirecting users to the right page when we do like a server-side render. But we shall see. Let me zoom out. This text is just too big. So before load, it kind of understood tan stack start, and it's checking if Vite early access mode is enabled and the path is not the landing page. We're going to redirect the user back to the landing page. Okay, so this looks accurate, pretty straightforward. At this point, this is something that I probably could have coded faster. We're almost 4 minutes in, and it literally changed 3 files. But again, we're doing this for science. Let's look at the other page. We have an index page here, which is bringing in this early access landing page component, okay? And if you look through here, basically it's saying if we're early access, we're going to return that component instead of like doing the normal hero page, the module section, the testimonials. And then down here, this is what the component kind of looks like. I probably would have liked this in a separate file, like a separate early access component. But it's probably fine for right now. It looks like it's refactoring this early access landing page component now and doing some iteration on it. All right, it looks like it's done. It only changed 4 files. So I guess the first thing we can try to do is go to our .env and force this Vite early access mode to be on. And I'm also curious about the other one that it added in. Like, is this being used anywhere? Let me just do this. Yeah, it doesn't look like this one's being used anywhere at all. So it just added a unnecessary environment variable. So I'm going to delete that for right now. All right, so what I'm going to do is turn this to true in my .env. And I think this took around 5 minutes. I think I was a little delayed in stopping the timer, but I think we should be okay with that estimate, about 5 minutes. All right, and this is what the form looks like. Let's try some validation. Okay, so it has some client-side validation, just using the HTML5 validation. Let's try subscribing. It is doing a post request to my API, and that is doing some reCAPTCHA stuff. I will say that I already had a newsletter component that had a lot of like the reCAPTCHA server function logic in here. So don't be too surprised that I got that right. I was hoping maybe I could just add this feature and make it look pretty good. But if you look at the response, we are getting success from the backend. So I think it does work. And we do have reCAPTCHA set up. So now we're going to have to prompt it again. Because one thing I found with GPT-5, if you're not super specific with what you want from the get-go, it won't add in things you didn't ask for. So like in my head, I would assume this will look good, but I didn't ask it to make it look good. It's just like a dumb robot that does what you tell it. And if you don't tell it to add in a nice logo or some text or anything like that, it's just going to add an input and a button, right? So let's try to do a second prompt. I'm going to say this is a good start, but you need to improve the design of this page and form. Okay, and let's list out some more to-dos it could probably do. So the first thing it needs to do is put a logo on the landing page when in early access mode above the form, right? So I'm going to be very, very specific about everything. I'm also going to say put agentic jumpstart and some descriptive marketing terms for convincing someone to buy this agentic course or agentic coding course. Make sure the designs look great. You are an expert user experience and designer. Make sure the landing page looks great. Again, I'm hoping that I don't have to like feed it everything, because then it's like, okay, then I have to be a professional designer to like make this look good. And that's defeating the purpose of AI, right? You can even go here and like give it a reference. I'm going to say like maybe something like this, but not the image of the woman. I think if we could get the image of our logo there, it might be a better coming soon type of landing page. Like maybe something like this could be okay. I am worried about giving it an image because again, these models are sometimes very, very specific, and you give them an image, it's going to think that's exactly what you want. But no, I want you to just use that as a reference. Use the attached coming soon image reference for how to lay out the page. Do not try to use the colors or designs in that image. Just use it for layout and typography or something. I don't know. And then, of course, there's some like user experience bugs with this. Like, why is this disabled? I want to say after a user successfully subscribes, do not disable the button instead show a toast and a nice message saying, "We will let you know when the course is ready. Looking forward to teach you." Something like this. Let's go ahead and just put this in double quotes. Be sure to show the logo of our application on the landing page somewhere. All right, so here is our second prompt, and we have an image that hopefully it can kind of make a little bit more progress. So I'm gonna go ahead and just document this. I'll say first prompt, and then this will be our iteration 2. All right, let's kick this off and see how it does. Now, the issue with testing out models is that often past the first prompt, your iteration 2 prompting is going to be so much different, right? Based on the results of the first prompt, our prompting may be completely different than like if we're using Claude Code. So it's hard to actually gauge past the first prompt. But overall, I would say those results for GPT-5, they were mediocre, right? This is something that you probably could have coded yourself much faster. And additionally, the styling of this just looks awful, right? It just didn't seem like it knew how to even like make this page look good. And that could have been a prompting issue. If you look over here, make the landing page simple and clean. Well, it did. This is a very simple and clean landing page, almost a little too clean. So that's the one thing I found with GPT-5 is that it's very specific. If you say simple and clean, it's too ambiguous. What does that actually mean? You need to give more descriptive visuals and like, what do you actually mean by simple and clean? Like, what's going to be on the page? Do you have a logo? Do you have some heading text? Do you have a paragraph tag? Do you have some marketing lingo? Some cool little accent symbols that are on the page? Maybe a glow effect? I don't really know. But we're going to let this run and then we'll try to see what the results are after this. I totally forgot to kick off the stopwatch for this second prompt. So this is going to be a very, very bad scientific test. But the first prompt took about 5 minutes. This one, I'm kicking it off right now. I think I started at like maybe 30 seconds late or even more. So we're probably at like a minute now. Okay, looks like it's done. Let's check out. We're at 53 minutes. So I think this took like a minute and a half. So I'll say like 1 minute, 30 seconds, maybe even 2 minutes. You know, rough estimate 2 minutes. I started the timer pretty late. All right, let's look at the changes. Okay, we are coming soon. Agentic Jumpstart, build real production-ready AI agents and automation, learn system design for agents, tool integrations, memory planning, and robust evaluation by shipping products end to end. I would probably say, hey, like this logo should be a little bit bigger, and like instead of the rocket there, you should use the logo. I'm going to do one more prompt because I do think we can make this better. This looks much better, but again, can you add some more glowy type of effects like you did on the landing page hero? I might even tag it this time. You know, I'm not going to tag. I'm just going to say hero section and make the main logo larger and in place of that rocket ship logo. And let's kick this off. This will be our third prompt, and we're going to track hopefully how long it takes. Let's stop this and restart it. Okay, we're tracking that. And we'll say iteration 3. Here's our prompt. So hopefully this is not too generic enough. Like I told it to go look at a existing hero section, and there's certain effects that are happening on that page that it should be able to figure out. And then also make the logo larger and in place of the rocket ship logo. Maybe I could have prompted that a little bit more direct, as in like delete the rocket ship icon, make the agentic logo larger. Prompting's hard, and definitely depending on the model you're using, you have to rethink the way that you're prompting. All right, this is the third and final prompt. This took about 2 minutes and 27 seconds, so 2 minutes, 27 seconds. And then we're going to go ahead and just look at the results here. Okay, and there is the final coming soon landing page. I think this is pretty good. Now, if I were to rethink about how I prompted GPT-5, I think if I just said, hey, use the hero banner as inspiration, I think this would have done much better. But again, sometimes you forget to say certain things, and GPT-5 is very, very direct. We'll let you know when it's ready. Looking forward to teach you. Thank you. Okay, so we got the toast. We got the nice little alert message. This is pretty good. Maybe even adding a footer down here, because technically if we're collecting their emails, we should probably have a privacy policy in terms of service or something like that. Overall, I'm happy with this. It's not the best looking coming soon page, but it's something, right? It's a good start. I give it like a 6 or 7 out of 10. I'm sure a graphic designer could probably make this look much nicer, but at least the functionality's there. We got some cool gradients on the button. We got this nice little glow effect of the alert, and then we also have a toast that pops up. So I'm actually going to check out a different branch here. I'm going to say coming soon, and then we're going to add all that. Adding coming soon flag. And then we'll just go ahead and push that. All right, so now we're going to go and try to do the exact same thing, but this time we're going to be using Claude Code. So I'm going to go ahead and load up Claude Code. And I am going to just copy and paste that first prompt like we did before. And I made sure that everything is not on this branch. So like if I go back to the landing page, it's not here, right? So using the exact same prompt, I'm just going to go ahead and kick this off. And let's also track the time to see how much faster Claude Code is. Now this should be using the Opus model because I haven't touched Claude Code today, so like my limits have not been reached. All right, so it's adding that early access feature flag. You can see that environment variable got updated. We're at 88 seconds right now. It's trying to import that into the auth library. Be interesting to see why it's doing this. Okay, it's creating an early access middleware. So if this flag is set, if the URL starts with any of these, or sorry, does not start with any of these, we're going to throw an error. Okay, so I'm wondering why it's adding that. Maybe it's going to attach that to all my existing middleware functions to prevent people from calling my API endpoints when this flag is on. But I guess we'll just have to let it cook and see. Now you should refrain from looking at the results too fast because often these things will iterate on the files that it's changing when it realizes that, hey, like maybe this wasn't the best solution. But it does seem like it's doing some of the similar things. Like before load, it's checking the early access function. And then that will basically check to see if we're on a certain route or if that flag is set. But we'll come back when this is done. I'll stop the timer. Yeah, see, it's deleting the stuff that it added to auth. I think it's starting to realize that maybe adding this to auth was not the right approach. And I'm guessing it's going to remove that early access middleware too. Yep, it did. It removed it. Cool. So this took about 4 minutes and 20 seconds. So I'll say Claude Opus was 4 minutes, 20 seconds. So overall, they're like the same. But now the real question is, what does it look like and does it work if I were to go and update that? And off the bat, the first prompt results in a broken UI. So let's go back and we're going to go ahead and say, now the UI is broken with this error. And then I'm going to paste in this error. So we're going to have to iterate again and let it try to fix those issues. And while it's trying to fix its own error, let's go and look at like what files is it changing before load. So in the main root, if early access is enabled, allowed paths, early access, server auth, login, logout is, so it's basically trying to add like a guard before anything loads in our app, which I guess is correct. And then down here, it's checking if early access is enabled. For what reason though? Oh, for hiding and showing the header. Okay, that seems correct. Now I will say like it didn't update the actual like index page. I would hope that we'd have an index page that would show this instead of having the early access stuff. Okay, it said it fixed the issues. Let's go back. Took about a minute there. Redirect is not defined. All right, we are still getting an issue. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy this and say we are still getting an error when I load the page, or app, I should say. Double check the TanStack start guide to debug this. All right, so 3 prompts in, and finally we have a page that actually shows. And if I go to the landing page, it kicks me back to early access. Any other route will take me to early access. So that seems pretty good. If I type in some bogus thing, is it validating? It does. Let's do this, join the waitlist. Do we get an alert? You're on the list. We'll notify you as soon as you are ready for launch. Yeah, so I think this is working as well. Okay, so I might just do one more prompt to try to make it look a little bit better. Like I would like the logo of the Agentic Jumpstart course to show up here. So I'm going to add the logo to this early access page and try to make it glow more like you did on the hero section. I'll kick this off one more time and hopefully you can kind of make it look a little bit better. So now we're like 4 prompts in with Claude Opus. And those other 2 little bugs, I think we probably could have prompted it a little bit better so it had more context with TanStack start. By the way, ignore these errors. I was trying to do some stuff with custom hooks, but I need to restart my Claude instance, but I don't want to lose my prompt. All right, we're 4 prompts in. This is what it's looking like right now. Early access registration coming soon. Don't know why that G is kind of cut off there, but yeah, I think this actually looks pretty good. I might actually go with this one. Okay, so it's still running. I'm not sure what else it needs to change on that page. Kind of left some old code in here. We don't need comments. Yeah, this is pretty good. All right, so it's done running. This is the final result. I would probably tweak this a little bit more. Like the join waitlist should be on the same height as the input. So again, we're going to prompt for the 5th time. And I'm going to say, make the join waitlist button the same height as the input. And that should probably be a really quick fix, hopefully. Okay, so a quick little tailwind fix should be pretty done now. And here we go, join waitlist. Okay, so this is the final result. It took about 5 prompts. Overall, I'm not sure which one took longer because I wasn't really tracking Claude as well as it was GPT-5. I think roughly they were the same. We had 2 prompts that were just bug fixes, and then we have 2 little tweaks to the UI to make it look a little nicer and change the styling. You can make your own formulated opinion by watching what I did in this video, but from my perspective, I think they are both good models. I think GPT-5 did a better job at like adding the features without breaking stuff. But I will say, like if I go ahead and commit this, because I do actually want these changes in my code base, and I'll just go ahead and AI commit those real quick and sync those up. But if I switch to the other branch that we're just on, the coming soon one. So on this branch, the main changes were like the environment variable and the approach. This one, GPT-5, did change the index page, which is what I kind of originally prompted it to do. And it just added a flag to show something else on the landing page if the early access flag was on. And then in the route, the redirect, no matter what route you were on, it would just kick you back to the landing page. I think this is a better before load, which I would have written. Because honestly, I don't want someone going to any other route at all. They should just go straight to this landing page and then show the content that's necessary when this flag is on. The Claude Code approach with having a separate route and then redirecting, it had like a bunch of other things it was checking for like when it could redirect to that. I think it was doing the most. All it needs to do is say like, hey, if you're on any route other than / go ahead and kick you back to the homepage. Now, in terms of the logic of how this was kind of working, the form it added here was just like a normal form. I am using ShadCN, so I would expected this to be like a ShadCN form with like client-side validation and a Zod schema. I don't know if the other branch did that either. So like we can switch back and just kind of double check that. But we can go to the coming soon page. Again, it's still not doing the ShadCN form. It's just doing the normal form with a submit, using a newsletter subscription component. Yeah, so that's about it. GPT-5 versus Claude Code Opus. Is one better than the other? I honestly could not tell you. I think they're both pretty good models. And if you told me, hey, you have to code with only GPT-5 from now on, I'd probably be okay with that, right? Claude Code does seem like it runs faster. For some reason, I don't know what it is, but I still like coding with the Claude Code model. I think I'm just more familiar with it. And I feel like I can ask it to do smaller tasks and just like rapidly iterate on it. I've always done agile development, so I'm not one for like giving a giant prompt and all these requirements. I'd rather give one requirement at a time and then come back and check in 30 seconds to a minute, see what it did, and then add on changes to that. And I think Claude Code works a little bit faster. So with my rapid prototype, rapid iteration viewpoint on how software engineering could be done, kind of like Claude Code, but overall they're both pretty good models. And I would think that GPT-5 might actually be cheaper. I have to go and look at the pricing, but I'm pretty sure Claude is much more expensive than GPT-5. But I haven't done the number crunching to give you like a legit breakdown of which one's going to cost you more in the long run. But for right now, I'm still going to stick with just using Claude Code agentic mode with Opus and Sonnet when I can. But who knows, maybe I'll switch over to another model if I get more time to experiment with it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a good day and happy coding. And be sure to check out agenticjumpstart.com and you can go ahead and sign up with this coming soon waitlist, and I'll send you all an email when this course is ready. If you did like learning a little bit more about agentic coding, again, this is all new. A lot of us are still experimenting with how to do it properly, but I will say that I built out a lot of projects by just vibe coding and agentic coding, and I have a lot of experience doing this. And I think if you guys want to see how I do it on a real world full stack application, this course would probably be something you want to check out. All right, have a good day and happy coding.